surprised that you gave a straight answer on his issue. Mr. Speaker, I have one question. On this particular issue on shared functions, we have shared functions under housing, under public works, and my question is, at what point is the ministry actually going to initiate a program of releasing the assets to the counties in terms of the shared, in terms of the functions that have been devolved? There are some functions that have been devolved, they've gone down to counties, but some of the assets are still on national level. So is there an intention to actually release those assets to the counties so that the counties can be able to have control over the issues that have been devolved? And Mr. Speaker, you know, we are all equal senators, and understanding Order 101, it is not proper for a senator to impute improper motive. I'm not a heckler, as you can see, and my contributions are valid. So I think Senator Sifuna should understand that we are all equal, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Oruoba.
We are contributing.
Senator Oruoba, you have asked your question to the CS. So do you want the CS also to comment on the issues that you are accusing Senator?
No, I've asked the question, but I wanted to pass the message on record.
Just raise your question at that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS.
The Honorable Senator Gloria is asking about the shared functions and the assets transfer of, and I think, are you referring to transfer of functions or transfer of assets? For assets, the national government is working holistically to see what assets should be transferred, and because I know even as we sit, most of the assets belong to the national government. They have not completely yet been transferred, but there is, including functions, there is a team that is working on the transfer of both functions and assets. So I want to believe that that will eventually find its way to Parliament when the final list is done. It's not a very simple exercise, and therefore it requires time. Thank you.
Let's get the last supplementary question from Senator Mutembei. I can see 3 more senators are still on the queue, and then I'll give you an opportunity after we ask question number 017. So we make some progress, Senator Onyonka. You'll have an opportunity still to ask your supplementary question.
Senator, my question is regard to historical land justices in Mombasa. Last week, and I think part of this week, the National Land Commission has been holding hearings in Mombasa in regards to historical land injustices. And on Friday last week, they made decisions that have created panic, fear, and despondency to the residents of Mombasa, especially within the island, where many are not sure of their residences or places where they have stayed for almost 100 years. Initially, during the colonial administration, we had the system of Liwalis, and the Liwalis were registered by virtue of their positions as trustees on behalf of the residents. However, when the Liwalis passed on, these properties were transferred or were inherited through the succession system, and now are no longer public or public properties, but they have now ended up in the hands of the relatives of the Liwalis. And this one has caused a lot of problem because they are charging a minimum of 5 million for a plot measuring 50 by 80 or 50 by 100 within the central business district. So, Madam CS, we wanted to know what is the government doing to assure these residents of their residences, and also to resolve this long-standing problem that has affected Mombasa Island, and also part of Kisauni and parts of Changamwe and Likoni areas of Mombasa County. Thank you.
Honorable CS.
Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Senator, is it of Mombasa? Yes, has raised a very important question, and I believe that that question is not a supplementary question. It requires to be put in writing so that I can be able to respond to you, especially noting that the activities that you have referred to are activities being carried out by the National Land Commission. You know, National Land Commission is also an independent body, but we work together. Sometimes they are able to consult, and sometimes I'm also able to consult them. So I would, with the permission of the Speaker, I would request that that question be forwarded formally either through the Senate or directly to the Cabinet Secretary, and I try to answer, because it's not necessary that if I can answer, I don't have to come to answer it on the floor. So I would leave it to you, Honorable Senator, through the Speaker.
I think Senator Mohamed Faki, that's a good guidance, because I also felt it's a weighty matter that needs some good response.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the CS that we need to put in a separate question. However, I have another small supplementary and I'll follow the houses, Mr. Speaker.
You will ask me during the next question.
Thank you.
Because actually it is related to the question by Senator Mohamed Faki. So let us have question number 017 by the Senator from Marsabit County.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Question 017. Could the Cabinet Secretary, one, indicate the respective value of each parcel of government-owned land that has been designated for the affordable housing projects in Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Kisumu counties, and indicate how many of the said parcels are currently being or have been developed since 2017. 2, state the value of parcel of land assigned to respective developers for the construction of affordable housing, and could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the project cost per square meter of each housing unit, as well as the interest rate to be charged to buyers of those units. 3, state how many of the houses under the project are under public-private partnership arrangements, and could the Cabinet Secretary state the respective percentage contribution of the government vis-a-vis the developers. Number 4, halt all transactions involving public land until mutually beneficial formula to both the government and developers is agreed upon. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Madam CS, respond to the 4 sections.
Honorable Speaker, may I allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Senate, the honorable members of the Senate, the entire Senate, for supporting the affordable housing levy bill that came through the Senate. After an elaborate discussion, we have now a law that was assented to on 19th of March by His Excellency. Thank you very much for your participation and approval. Honorable Speaker, the question by the Honorable Senator from Marsabit, and I also appreciate that he's on board because he has even tendered an apology. We should be able to work together. Since 2017, Honorable Speaker, the government, I want to go to the 4 questions. I think his question is in 4 parts, as you have rightly pointed out, Honorable Speaker. The first one, of course, he's asking me to indicate the value of each parcel of government-owned land that has been designated for affordable housing projects in Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, and Kisumu counties, and indicate how many of the parcels are currently being or have been developed since 2017. Since 2017, the government has identified and designated about 575 land parcels, totaling to about 12,000 acres distributed across the country. These parcels were submitted by the ministries, individual ministries, counties, departments.
Madam CS.
Yes,
Because this, I can see your response is quite long,
yes.
and very elaborate. So I wanted to get from the honorable member whether he has been able to go through this response so that we can save some time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you have, which specific section do you feel that you need?
Then I can be directed to that,
that
yes. Thank you.
particular part of
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm satisfied
Because
with
let me finish.
the answers. Yeah.
Because the way you have really appreciated and you also say you are now on board. It's like this question was before. Or you asked this question before, now you came on board with that act.
Honorable Speaker, I've gone through the answers and I'm happy and comfortable with them, but I have supplementary questions.
You have no, yeah, good. Then if there is any other member on affordable housing, like Senator, first to inquire to Senator Mohamed Faki. You said you have no supplementary questions.
I have supplementary questions.
Oh, okay. Just ask your supplementary questions so that it can be specific.
Thank you.
Minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Article 43(1)(b) is very clear on the issue of settling people. And I wanted the Cabinet Secretary to note that we had former Buxton tenants who came, who in fact brought a petition to this House. And I am in the Committee of Housing, Roads and Housing, and we decided and agreed that these people should be resettled, 184 in number, to be given the first priority to be resettled in Buxton Estate. I would want the Cabinet Secretary to tell us if these people are going to be settled, when we are going to be settled, and if she can give an appointment through this House for those people to come and sit with her and finalize this matter. The other issue I have is on rural housing. The Cabinet Secretary is aware that we passed the amended law has the issue component of rural housing. I want to know in her regulations what is he going to do for those people who cannot afford urban housing, who want to settle in Marsabit, Isiolo, Wajir, and those places. How is he going to cater for those people that can be settled in those areas? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I?